Hello everyone. So today I'm going to begin the new series that is literature for class 11th, and we are going to begin with the first lesson, that is the portrait of a lady. Writer of this story is Mr. Kushwant Singh, and it's a real story where he beautifully explained the kind of relation he had with his grandmother. You all can relate well with his emotions. Generally, this happens with all of us, that during our childhood, we all got immense love and affection from our grandparents. Children whose parents are working can understand better as their grandparents spend more time with them, and thus they got attached to them. But with passage of time, things change. Children got busy in their studies, in their schedules, and some or the other way, generation gap tends to get widened, and so as the distance between them. But that bond, some or the other way, stay the same. So, some or the other way, this is what we are going to, learn in this lesson, and we are able to understand those emotions which Kushwant Singh was able to express in his story, and he has expressed it so beautifully with minute details. So, without wasting time, let's jump onto the text. I'll explain the lesson along with my reading, and you can underline the difficult words or the phrases which you feel like. And if you still feel that this thing was not discussed in the explanation part, you can ask me in the comment section given below. The first page, the first paragraph, my grandmother likes everybody's grandmother. So here in this paragraph, Kushwant Singh is trying to explain or introduce his grandmother, that she is just like everybody's grandmother. She is old. She had been old and wrinkled for 20 years. Now, why he is mentioning 20 years? It's his age basically. That it's been 20 years he had known her, and since then she is old and she got wrinkles on her face. She has wrinkles on her face. People said that she had once been young and pretty and had even had a husband. Now, he has not seen her young, he has not seen her pretty, and he has not seen her husband alive. This is because his grandfather was already died and he was not present with him at the present moment. He was died earlier, and that's why his portrait was hung on the mantelpiece in the drawing room. It's a kind of place, mantelpiece is a kind of place on the fireplaces. Generally in the houses in hill stations we have a fireplace, and just above the fireplace there's an empty space where you can hang any kind of portrait or pictures. So basically there's their grandfather's portrait hung above the mantelpiece in the drawing room, and he, in just 2-3 lines, Kushwant Singh is explaining about his grandfather, that he wore a big turban and he was a kind of masculine personality. That masculinity is there on his face. He's dominant, he's masculine, he has worn a big turban. He wore a big turban, and he was wearing loose fitting clothes. He has a long white beard, which was covering which was covering the part of his chest. It was that long, and he looked at least 100 years old, and that was giving that was making him look older than he was just basically he was at his age. So, and he was also saying that it was not that he did not look like a sort of person who would have a wife or a children, because there is that soberness and that affection was not on his face, that maybe he could even have a wife. It was hard to believe, because only he could sense that authoritativeness on his face, and that domination and that masculinity on his face. Kushwant Singh cannot imagine his grandfather as a husband. And that's why when he started discussing about his grandmother, he said that my grandmother being young and pretty, this thought was almost revolting. Now, why he has used this phrase? Whenever you don't want to believe over certain kind of statement or certain thought which you are thinking, you don't want to believe, or others are discussing but you don't want to believe, at that time we use this phrase, that my thought was almost revolting, or my thoughts are revolting, that they are not ready to believe it. She often told us the games she used to play as a child. Now, here he was saying that his grandmother used to discuss about, her childhood, the game she used to play in her childhood. So her grandmother, his grandmother, basically felt absurd and undignified. Maybe she was not confident in discussing, because generally what happened when our grandparents tell us something, about their time, so generally what happened, we start making fun, we start laughing on these kind of, peculiar things. Now, by saying that, oh, what kind of things you are saying, this is not happen at our time is different and all stuff. So she was not confident in discussing her past, her childhood with them. But when she, narrate the stories of the prophets are the gurus, or you can say religious person, religious figure. So whenever she shares such kind of things with them, they feel like, or Kushwant Singh felt that they are the fables of the prophets. Fables means short stories. So they take it as short stories, and she basically told them to teach them some good values. Now, in the next paragraph, she had here he's explaining about, he's giving physical details about his about his grandmother, that she had always been short and fat and slightly bent. Generally it happens now when you become old, the figure our figure, it tends to get bent a little. And it's a sign, aging sign. Basically, her face was a crisscross of wrinkles. Crisscross means on her whole face there was wrinkles are some lines we got on our face when we become old, and it's everywhere. Now on page 4, first para, we have old, so terribly old that she could not have grown older and had stayed at the same age for 20 years. Means he has not seen any change, any physical change in her looks since he has been watching her. Like for 20 years, there's no change. She's just like old and terribly old she has become. She could never have been pretty. She was always beautiful. Matlab, like the image which he has there in his mind, it was like she was always beautiful. She could never have been she could never have been prettier. She was always beautiful. Now she hobbled about the house. Hobbled means to move here and there. Always she hobbled about the house in spotless white, and with one hand resting on her waist to balance her stoop. One hand on her waist and one hand is free. So she just hobbled about the house here and there, moving, doing stuff. And the other telling the beads of her rosary. So one hand on her waist and other is carrying a beads of her rosary. Rosary is, it's a kind of, string of beads, you can say, and a kind of religious thread, I could say, which is used by old people to chant mantras or any kind of prayers. So silver locks means white hair, was scattered untidily over her pale puckered face. Puckered means very thin, weak, and her lips constantly moved in the inaudible prayer. Now it's not audible to anybody, it's like silent prayer she used to do every time. And yet this figure also, like the way he was picturizing her and portraying her, he's saying that she was beautiful. She was like that winter landscape in the mountains. Now he is comparing her beauty with the winter landscape in the mountains. Here it is the figure of speech, you can say, simile is used, and he is making the he's comparing her beauty with the winter landscape in the mountains, like the purity it has. Similarly, expanse of pure white serenity. Serenity means peace. When we watch those mountains and that landscape, it gives a kind of purity, and a sense of serene background, a peaceful background, and you feel contentment, you feel content, you feel satisfied after watching. So the same kind of feeling Kushwant Singh had when he used to see his grandmother, and that's why he is comparing her to the landscape of winter landscape in the mountains. And now my next paragraph is my grandmother and I were good friends. They both were very good friends, and my parents left me with her when they went to live in the city. And now it happens generally, first parents move to the city to search some jobs, and when they'll get settled there, and then they'll call their parents and their child so that they can settle there. So at that time, that was the time where Kushwant Singh was living alone with his grandmother only. His parents his parents were not around him. They were in the city. They moved to the city, and what happened till here? Kushwant Singh was living in the village, and he was just completely adapted himself in the village environment, and he was as he was having only one friend, that is his grandmother. He was totally attached to her and share the things which she used to do. So she used to wake me up in the morning. So of course, because his grandmother was his only guardian, so she used to wake him up in the morning and get him ready for the school. She said her morning prayer in a monotonous means regular sing song while she bathed, and dressed me in the hope that I would listen and get to know it by heart. So deliberately she is singing it so that Kushwant Singh got to know, and he can learn that prayer, and he can also sing along with her. Some or the other way you can say that his grandmother, genuinely want him to learn some good religious values. I listened because I loved her voice, but never bothered to learn it because maybe Kushwant Singh's interest was not that much in, being religious. Children generally don't like that. So he loved to listen it because he loved her voice, and that's why he liked to listen, but he never bothered to learn it. Then she would fetch my wooden slate, because at those time it was like Kushwant Singh has written Kushwant Singh wrote this story long time back. So at that time there were no notebooks, and you have to plastered your slate, and you have to get it ready, and you have to write it using a chalk on it. A tiny earthen ink pot and a red pen tied them all in a bundle and handed to me. So this is the bag she used to prepare for him after a breakfast of a thick stale chapati. Very important, because they were not that well off, so he could just manage to eat thick stale chapati. Stale means not that fresh, with a little butter and sugar spread on it. But they were not well off, as they could not even afford to cook vegetables at their house. So they just have the roti or chapati with the butter and sugar spread on it, and they went to school. And she also went along with Kushwant Singh. She carried several stale chapatis with her for the village dogs. Now she was very much attached to the animals, and so was Kushwant Singh because of her, because he used to observe his grandmother a lot. My grandmother always went to school with me because the school was attached to the temple. So when Kushwant Singh went to the school, what she will do, so she also thought to go along with him. Now there can be several reasons why she was going. First, the temple was attached to the school, so she could sit there and she could recite her prayers, as we can see that she is a very religious woman. And second reason, that she's so much attached to Kushwant Singh that she might get afraid sending him alone to the school. So when the school is just adjacent to the temple, so she felt a bit relief that okay, my grandson is safe there. So maybe this could be the reason. Now, while the children sat in the rows on either side of the veranda singing the alphabet or prayer in chorus, my grandmother sat inside reading the scriptures. She used to read Mahabharata and religious books kind of things, Ramayana or Gita. So when we had both finished, like his school and his prayers, when they got over, we would walk back together. This time the village dogs would meet us at the temple door. Now all the dogs, they gathered around them because they know that it's their routine that they will give us the chapati. So they will all, the dogs were also, they gathered around them. They followed us to our home, growling and fighting, because all the dogs, it's a kind of competition between the dogs who will get the chapati. So they all started growling and barking and fighting with each other for the chapatis we threw to them. When my parents were comfortably settled in the city, they sent for us. They sent like a message that you can also come there. Now, from the village life to the city life, that was a turning point in our friendship. Turning point means a big change in your lifestyle, a big change in your life, or in the things which you are generally doing. So a big change, I should say, here in the lifestyle. And here the turning point is in our friendship, because they moved to the city, the things were different there. Now, although we shared the same room, my grandmother no longer came to school with me, because here the situation is different. She could not go there, and she could not, take care of him the way she used to do earlier. Some or the other way, the grandmother was feeling this gap and feeling this change, and maybe she was not that happy from inside, but she was not showing it to anybody. I used to go to an English school in a motor bus. Now the things have changed. See, earlier his grandmother accompanied him. They used to walk. Now he's going in the motor bus. He's going to an English school. There were no dogs in the street, and she took to feeding sparrows in the courtyard. So here the things have got changed. Now there were no dogs. Now what she's doing, because she's very much into animals and birds, so now she has started feeding the sparrows in the courtyard of the city house. As the years rolled by, we saw less of each other, because again I've told you the generation gap. Now he got busy. He is growing. Kushwant Singh is growing. Now he had his studies. He used to go to school, tuitions and hobby classes, everything. He started getting busy, and that's why he was not able to spend that much time with his grandmother, which he used to spend earlier. And both, some or the other way, Kushwant Singh and his grandmother, both are feeling this gap, and both are some or the other way get disturbed, but they are going with the flow and they are adapting the things. For some time she continued to wake me up and get me ready for school, but when I came back, she would ask me what the teacher had taught me. So she used to ask questions some or the other way, but still she knows that bond was not the same. The things are getting changed the moment they have shifted to the city. On page 5, para 1, I would tell her English words and little things of Western science and learning, the law of gravity, Archimedes' principle, the world being round, etc. This made her unhappy because she could not help me with my lessons. Now here, already she was aware that there's a gap, because when Kushwant started going to the modern school, or the city school, first she was not aware about those concepts. So she said that this was the only thing which she by which she could sit near to him, by which she could maintain and balance her bond with her grandson. So she was disturbed because she was not able to help him in his studies. Now she was not aware of all these modern concepts, so she was disappointed that she could not help him with the lessons, and she did not believe in the things they taught at the English school, and was distressed that there was no teaching about the God and scriptures. Now it happens generally because this is what I call the generation gap here. The things don't match. The things which our grandparents feel like it should be there in our studies, but not the present curriculum, not the present scenario. The present scenario demands something else. It demands practicality. It demands, it is more scientific, more technology oriented stuff. So both of them are right at their respective places. The writer is also right, and the grandmother is also right. So she was very offended why he is going to an English school, because he could not get the that moral values. He could not get the good lessons or religious lesson which she used to share with her. So she is bit against against the English schools. One day I announced that we were being given the music lessons. Now music lessons here can be of anything, like today's music lesson, guitar, it could be jazz, it could be pop music or western music, which is okay. Nowadays, children are moving towards such kind of things, as this is there in the demand, and these are the things which are there in the demand. So she was very disturbed, because with according to her, music has some other definition. It has lewd association. Lewd means which is not something, it's vulgar, you can say, which is not dignified, and it's bad. So it was the monopoly of harlots and beggars, and not meant for gentle folk. So he's saying that it's not for the gentleman, it's not for the gentle people or good people, it's just for the beggars and harlots. Harlots means people who are not of good professions, associated with bad professions, with vulgarity. So she doesn't feel like it is appropriate, or it is good for the writer, for the narrator to take the music lessons. So she felt offended. But she said nothing. Her silence meant disapproval. She rarely talked to me after that. Now she stopped talking to him, and she knows that she could not stop the children. If she'll stop him, maybe Kushwant Singh become offensive, because you know what we want is to go with the flow, and we as grandchildren, we all want to be the part of the society. And generally it happens, if grandparents start saying something to you or start stopping you, you will feel offensive, and that bond will not be there, and it's reality. So to maintain that bond, she has not said anything to her grandson, and she started doing her work. Now this time has moved on. I went up to the university. I was given a room of my own. Now he has to go for the further studies. The common link of friendship, that was the room which they used to share, was snapped. My grandmother accepted her seclusion with resignation. Now she said that I have resigned from this position of being his guardian. So accepted her seclusion means she has no option but to accept the situation. She rarely left her spinning wheel to talk to anyone. Now she started, kept herself busy in her own activities. She rarely talked to anyone, because the vibes are not matching. Her thinking is not matching, and she is not able to get that attention. She is not able to get that love from anyone, because everybody is busy in the city life, and she is just spending her time with her spinning wheel and reciting prayers all the time, just being quiet. Only in the afternoon she relaxed for a while to feed the sparrows, which she loved to do, and she sat in the veranda breaking the bread into little bits. Hundred of little birds collected around, creating a veritable bedlam of chirpings. Veritable bedlam means so many chirpings were there that you were not able to guess which sparrow is chirping which sound or producing which sound. So it's big a kind of noisy and chaotic sounds, but still very pleased to it's very pleasant sound, but very confusing and full of mixing up. So many birds were chirping. Some came and perched on her legs, others on shoulders, so they are showing their affection. Some even sat on her head. She smiled but never shooed them away, because they are the ones with whom she can feel little bit of affection. She could feel that attention from them. It is used to be the happiest half hour of the day for her. So you can relate why she is happy, because she is able to get that love and affection which she maybe is not able to get from the present family members, and not from her grandson. Now, in the third paragraph, when I decided to go abroad for further studies, I was sure my grandmother would be upset, because now he would not be even in the same city. She could not even able to see his face. I would be away for 5 years, and at her age, one could never tell. Now, one could never tell means nobody can, say when she will go, when she will die. So he was prepared, and he was being practical here. He was sounding practical, that nobody could ever tell. And grandmother was some or the other way was aware of this fact. Ki I don't know how many days I'm having with me. I don't know whether I'm able to see him or not. So she was not at all even sentimental at that time. She didn't become emotional. She came to leave me. She went there at the station, but did not talk to show any emotion. Her lips moved in prayer, her mind was lost in prayer, her fingers were busy telling those beads of her rosary. Silently, she kissed my forehead. Now she was just praying, and she was, saying that inaudible prayers and silent prayers. She was continuously doing that, maybe giving blessings to her grandson, a kind of way by which she could bless her grandson. Silently, she kissed my forehead, and when I left, I cherished the moist imprint as perhaps the last sign of the physical contact between us, because this could be the last sign between us. She kissed him on his forehead, and that was so special for Kushwant Singh, that she said maybe this is the last physical contact. This is a sign of the last physical contact between both of us. But that was not so. After 5 years, I came back home, and when I was met her at the station, she did not look a day old, and she's still the same. And he was very much relaxed and happy, after seeing her, still the same. So she still had no time for words, and while she clasped me and hold me in her arms, I could sense that again she is just busy in her prayers only. She didn't say much, she didn't talk much, she didn't even express anything. She was just busy in her prayers. Even on the first day of my arrival, her happiest moments were with her sparrows only, because now priorities have been changed for her. Priorities are changed. Now she knows that which things are giving happiness to her. She was very much aware, and he is also aware that I am not the source of happiness. Now the birds are only the source of happiness. And she fed them in the same way with frivolous rebukes. Frivolous rebukes means in the same way, without thinking about anything, without thinking, or without any distraction, without any she was not getting rebuked from any other thing. She was not getting distracted. She was just busy in her normal monotonous routine. Now, in the last paragraph, in the evening, a change came over. You know what? A lady who's just busy in performing her duties and on time. She was very particular about her routine. When she does something extraordinary, it was a shocking moment for everyone. What was that extraordinary thing? Today, she did not pray. And rather, she collected the women of the neighborhood, got an old drum, and started to sing. For several hours, she strummed the sagging skins of the dilapidated drum. That means a loose drum, and she was dilapidated means loose skin, and she was just banging that drum and sang of the homecoming of the warriors. Now this line is very important. Why she's doing that? Because she's happy from inside that her grandson has returned. Maybe she's comparing her grandson as the warriors, and that's why she was singing such kind of song by collecting the neighborhood ladies along with her, and expressing her kind of happiness that yes, my grandson has come. That was the first time since I had known her that she did not pray. Next morning, she was taken ill. So maybe, here you can relate it in some way. The person who does a lot of prayers, some or the other way, becomes suspicious about the things which are going to happen with them. I'm not saying that they are able to see future, but they could sense it. Their intuition power is so much high that they could sense it that yes, my end is near now. And maybe that extraordinary things she is doing, it is because of that intuition which she has got. Next morning she was taken ill. It was a mild fever, and everybody of us thought that it will get over. According to the narrator, he said that we thought that it will get over. But on the shocking note, my grandmother thought differently. She told us that her end was near. She said that since only a few hours before the close of the last chapter of her life, she had omitted to pray. She was not going to waste more time talking to us. She said that this life was given by God, and I don't want to waste it. I don't want to waste my time in talking to anybody. I know my end is here. Doctors can't do anything. You all can leave me alone. And it happens, journey old people tend to know this and tend to have this kind of intuition, as I told you earlier. And here it is happening the same. And already she was too much into prayer. And at the end time of her, she just want to do the prayer only. We protested means we denied, everybody denied, but she ignored our protest. She lay peacefully. She became stubborn for the first time. She had given priority to her statement rather than to listening to others. Even before we could suspect, her lips started moving and rosary fell from her lifeless fingers. That means she's dead now. A peaceful pallor spread on her face. Pallor means a peaceful kind of feeling was there on her face. It's like she didn't go in any kind of pain, and it was the most, relaxing thing for anybody of the family members to see that she was relaxed and she didn't feel any kind of pain, and we knew that she was dead. We lifted her off the bed as per the custom, as per the kind of customary duty, or as per the ritual. We have laid her, like we have lifted her off on the bed, laid her on the ground and covered it with the red shroud, a cloth. Shroud means a cloth. After a few hours of mourning means, when mourning is the time of is the sad time where people exchange their feelings, and their body was there only, so they just come and hugged each other and felt sorry for their loss, and this is a kind of mourning. We left her alone to make arrangements for funeral. In the evening we went to her room with the crude stretcher to take her to be cremated, that wooden stretcher on which they will take her. The sun was setting and had lit her room veranda with a blaze of golden light. That means it's the time of the evening when they were doing all these activity. We stopped halfway in the courtyard, all over the veranda in her room, right up to where she lay dead and stiff wrapped in the red shroud. Thousands of sparrows sat scattered on the floor, because actually they also, those sparrows also felt that connection, and they just came there to express their emotion for the grandmother, and they were there because they generally come to have those crumbs, but here they were also feeling that something, sparrows can also feel, the animals can also feel that something has happened bad, something has happened wrong, and that person is not there with us, with whom we felt connected. So they felt sorry. Some or the other way, they were not chirping anymore, they were quiet. She broke into little crumbs. And now what happened, narrator's mother gave them the bread crumbs, but they didn't take it because they were also sad, and they just want to take it from the grandmother's hand only. But now today, as she was not available, so they were sad, the sparrows were sad. They took no notice of the bread. They were just there, sat there, and when we carried my grandmother's corpse off, they flew away quietly, as if that they have lost their friend, and they have lost their companion. So as they have took the grandmother's body, they also flew away quietly. Next morning, the sweeper swept the breadcrumbs into the dustbin. So this is the end of the lesson and end of the grandmother's journey some or the other way. So this is the peaceful end through which the grandmother's has ended her life, and you can see the connection which she had with the animals, with the birds, and with the nature, of course. Because when you are not able to get that affection from your family members, no, generally old people tend to find affection in such things, either with nature, with animals and birds. They feel comfortable because some or the other way they want attention. So this is all about lesson 1. I am attaching a link in the description for the question answers and for the theme of the lesson. Still, if you have any doubt, if you have any question, feel free to ask in the comment section given below. Thank you so much. Stay tuned for the next lesson.